Time to call the meeting to order, March 13th, 2023. Pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call vote. Dale Macklin.
Here.
Jerry Querian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Here.
Joseph Gravel.
Here.
Jeff West.
Here.
Lee Trahan.
Here.
Peter Drapo.
Here. I'd like to take a moment before we start the meeting to mention that Ben Twitchell, very long time counselor and resident, passed on February 24th. I'd like to take a moment of silence in his behalf, please. Thank you. Would anybody from the council like to say anything, or should we carry on?
If I might, through the chair, when I read Ben's obituary, this struck me as what Ben was really all about. Ben will be remembered by his generous heart, his champion of the underdog, pride in country, and his fierce love and protection for the ones he loved in his family.
Thanks. Anyone else?
Yes. Ben's celebration of life is going to be the 1st of April at the Congregational Church on Lithgow Street. Thank you. At 1 p.m. You are welcome to attend.
Thanks, Jerry.
Approval of minutes from the February 13th, 2023 meeting.
So move.
Second?
No discussion? Nope.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Querian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Okay, passes 7-0. Communications, employee recognition.
I did not have anyone turn in any employee recognition this month, but I did want to recognize Audra. Audra has been acting as our interim town clerk. She has done a wonderful job during her, I guess it's been about a month and a half, almost 2 months now. She's also still been wearing the hat of code and assessing assistant, and we have not had a code enforcement officer since February 14th. So Audra has done an excellent job of not only keeping up, but catching up with some of the backlog of things that we had in the clerk's office. So Audra, thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate all the work that you've done.
Thank you. A housing tip, the Newman's Home, Brendan Roberge on Benton Avenue. He's here tonight.
It's the gentleman in the blue jacket.
Yep. Could you come up to the podium, sir, please?
Bring some.
We'll just hand them out to each counselor.
Thank you.
I'll take those two. I'll give one to
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd like to remind you, sir, that this is, you have a 10-minute limit on the presentation.
Good evening, council members. My name is Brandon Roberge, president of Newman Homes. We're an Augusta-based general contractor company with a focus on building custom homes and multifamily construction projects. We built numerous custom homes in subdivisions like Fieldstone Place next to Coney High School in Augusta, as well as large multifamily projects like the 14 townhouses we're currently building in Waterville off College Ave. I'd like to briefly discuss with you a low-income development project that we're planning to build here in Winslow. This development project will consist of 18 affordable apartment units. All 18 apartments will be priced for low-income families with associated household income limits. Each apartment is designed to be a 1,265 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. Tenants will have exclusive access to a clubhouse on the property, which will consist of an exercise room, a computer room with printer and fax machine, and a game room. Tenants will also have access to the apartment's playgrounds for tenants. We currently have the lot of land for the development project under contract. It's on the corner of Benton Ave and Hayward Road, right next to the FW Webb building. Once we close on the lot, we intend to subdivide a portion of it to be a daycare facility. We plan to incentivize the daycare to accept low-income daycare vouchers, which is an issue with people who get the low-income daycare vouchers, like getting someone to accept them. And we plan on doing this by discounting the lease payment to offset the price difference between the standard market rate per child and the maximum price limit that the daycare vouchers allow. The amount we can borrow for constructing this development is directly linked to the projected monthly budget. Our largest monthly expense, aside from the mortgage payment, will be our property taxes. I'm here today in hopes that there may be possibly a way forward for us to be granted a TIF, a tax increment financing, for this affordable housing development project. Anything you can do to help us with this would be greatly appreciated. I provided the preliminary designs for the development as well as other relevant information in there. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Whereabouts in Waterville are you building units now? Those the ones that after Jamel?
On College Ave, right across, like kind of across from the police station there. And
The old manor.
yeah,
Okay.
Manor Gardens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I, if I might?
Yes.
So Mr. Roberge and I met last week, and he's here at my request to present the project to you. We know that affordable housing is a big hot button right now across the state. The state has legislation that is going to require us to make one in every, I think it's 1 in every 1,000 dwellings affordable. So this could be a good project for Winslow. TIFs, I know a lot of people think that TIFs are strictly a break for the developer. They do benefit the town in a couple of ways, mostly by deferring when we have to add the valuation of that new property to our rolls. And what that means for the town is that it doesn't go against the formulation for what we get for state revenue sharing, because the higher our valuation, the less our revenue sharing is. And it also allows us to get the business development in town and provide some much-needed affordable housing. I still have to do a lot of research on my end on what it takes to get a TIF done, but it would certainly be something that we should research and consider looking at this property up here on Benton and Haywood.
Thank you.
We have to establish a TIF zone first,
That's all done as part of, the entire TIF package, you apply to the state, that creates the zone. A TIF zone is not just one specific location, it's wherever you apply for the TIF for. So in this case, there would be a zone created at that particular location. We are well under our threshold for the amount of land we can put into TIF zones at this point.
Through the chair?
Yes.
Are you planning phases, or is it just, you're gonna build the 18 units?
So it might end up being a phase one, phase
Two, depending on, we hired a wetland scientist to go out there, we're waiting for the snow to melt for him to get back the results, but basically depending on what his results are will depend on whether or not we need a DEP wetland permit. If we do need a wetland permit, we may end up going with a phase one, phase two, depending on the DE permitting process, yeah. But, you know, if we do the phase one, phase two, basically the DEP permit takes about 4 months to get, so the only reason we want to do the phase one, phase two, if we are required to get that, is to be able to get construction started sooner.
Yeah,
And then as soon as we finish with the other permit, we'd be following right up with phase two.
yeah, and all I can say is TIFs, like standard waterproofing was a perfect example of TIFs through the years that have benefited, the town of Winslow. And it adds that businesses can expand using the TIF money and reinvest back into the community, hopefully.
Exactly.
Does the building that you were planning to put in, does it have any parking minimum requirements?
We do have, there's a parking requirement. We'll end up having 4 EV parking spots. Yeah. But so far, I'm not aware of any other parking limitations that have been placed on us yet.
Question to the chair? No, you're-
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Regarding this project, it's 18 units. As far as these 18 units, how many are going to be considered wheelchair accessible?
They're all going to be on the first floor.
Mhm.
So I guess if we did have an applicant that was looking to live there that was in a wheelchair, we would have to just build a little ramp,
So
which,
you're not planning on having any of them preset as being classified as wheelchair accessible without any modifications?
that's a really good idea. Maybe we will do that. It would be a really slight modification to that. We already have the 3-foot openings for that, and we do have grab bars in several locations, and we also in the master have a shower unit that is just low threshold. It's not no threshold, but it is low threshold. But that's something I definitely want to consider. That's a really good idea.
Wouldn't mind talking with you afterwards or another time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
My question was, building this as affordable housing, how long does it have to remain affordable housing?
45 years.
45 years.
Yeah, so it's a 45-year term limit placed on us.
How are you gonna finance the project? Is that federal monies or private equity, or is that your own money, or?
State, both, I guess, but I guess our money will be reimbursed by the state grant once we
But it's not
receive
gonna be a private equity financing?
No, it's through the rural rental program with Maine State Housing Authority.
And will there be roads through there that you will eventually at some time want the town to take over?
We haven't decided yet if we're going to remain private on the road or go public with the road. We're evaluating both options at this point.
I believe over a certain number of units, we have to take over the road. Is that not correct, Paul?
I'm not sure if there's a number. I know when you exceed a certain number, they have to meet the same specifications as a public road as far as width and access for emergency vehicles. We've already spoken a little bit about designing the road as a public road. That's something that we'll do in the future, so that we can accept it.
You complete.
Just one other quick question to the chair. Will these units have any kind of, I know they're income-based, but will they also have any kind of age limitations?
No age,
threshold?
no age limitation on it. No, just income limitations.
These extra amenities that you're gonna add, the clubhouse, daycare, is that gonna be available to the public or just for the residents of the development?
The daycare will be available to the public, but the clubhouse and the playground that's for the apartment complex will be specifically for the apartment complex and their guests, obviously, but. yeah.
That's 10. It's 10.
Okay, we're at 10 minutes. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
I think it's something the town definitely needs.
Yeah.
We'll move forward.
Okay. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Boards and committee appointments, we have one, Kim Clifton for the Board of Assessment Review. I think Kim is here. I am here. And Judy.
Any discussion?
Gotta move it. So moved.
Second?
Jeff, will you said the motion?
Yes.
Jeff moved, and seconded.
Okay, roll call vote, so Dale Macklin,
Yes?
Jerry Grant,
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan,
Yes.
Peter Drucker.
Yes.
7-0. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Reports and committees and commissions, the town manager's report.
Thank you. Esteemed counselors, Mr. Chairman, members of the public. February is always a fun month because it tends to be busy with budget, but it's also shorter than all the other months. So we were quite busy in February. So just briefly, things we had going on other than the budget. The budget is obviously the big push during February, but we had a really good coffee with the manager meeting on February 1st. We had a focus on beautification and Fort Halifax Park events. Winslow Girl Scout Troop has stepped up and said that they would like to participate with the beautification committee, planting flowers, watering, doing whatever they can do to help. So really, really good to see them stepping up to the plate. Ideas for park events, we've had some of the same recurring ones that we've always had. That didn't happen. Sorry. Movie nights with popcorn, obviously, any kind of music events, and somebody suggested having food truck days where we just have like a food truck derby that people can go down there, and we've got a bunch of food trucks down there. Different ideas to just get more use in the park and get people out and participating in the community. It was mentioned that the Girl and Boy Scouts would be willing to volunteer to do cleanup, and that we could make it worth their time by having receptacles for all the returnable bottles and cans, and that they can take the proceeds that come from that. I love the ideas. I want to keep them coming, but with all the ideas, I need people who are willing to step up and head up an events committee, particularly those of you on council. If you're not heading a committee for me, I know some of you work, I know some of you have more time, but it's very difficult to have to head all the committees and actually make things happen. So hopefully I can get somebody to head up an events committee and make some of these ideas happen. I just want to remind everybody that the Coffee with the Manager meetings are held the first Wednesday of every month at 9 a.m. We've been holding them in this room here for the past few months, and we will make this our standard location unless we have a business that wants to get involved and have us go out there. I know that we will be having one at Maine Crisp. April did not work for them, but they're looking at a first Wednesday in May that works for them, and they will also include with that a tour of the facility and their new processes they've got going on over there, and provide samples, which will be a nice treat. But other than that, this location's been working out really well. As a reminder, everyone is welcome. It's just a roundtable talk. There's no decisions being made. It's just tossing around ideas. Anyone can come. On February 22nd, we held another public engagement meeting for our public safety department. Other than our own employees and one counselor, no one was showing up. So I'll try to hold one more next month, but if nobody shows up, I'm going to assume that the public doesn't have a whole lot more interest in whether we move forward with the department or not. But we did move ahead in the month of February by posting an interim deputy police chief job. We only had one candidate. That candidate was Officer Randy Wing. He's the only one who submitted any kind of interest in the job. So he'll be stepping up to that job. He has 30 years of experience, including experience as a police chief, so he's well equipped to take on those duties. There's no changes in salaries or anything else during the interim position. He's just doing this until we finish the trial up in June, at which time, if the trial goes through, we'll be posting that position at that time. So he stepped up to the position on March 6th, last Monday. On February 22nd, we also held what I truly hope will be one of our last comprehensive plan meetings. We're getting very close to the finish. I know we've said that before, but we're down to the point where we are going through the strategies tables, which should be the wind-up of the entire thing. So hopefully a couple more meetings and we'll be completed. The next one is scheduled for March 22nd, same time, 6 p.m. On February 28th, I was able to successfully submit the application for the RDA Economic Development Funding in coordination with and on behalf of Maine CRISP. That funding, if we get it, will allow them to purchase a piece of equipment that will allow them to expand their product line into flat crackers and cookies. Right now, they just make the crisps. They anticipate that being able to expand into those other areas will allow them to add 15 jobs in the town of Winslow, so really hoping this goes through. I've been very happy to see their growth in Winslow and keeping my fingers crossed we get this funding. In February, firefighter Ben Lubier announced his departure from the Winslow Fire Department. His last day will be March 11th, which that was at the time I wrote this. Obviously, March 11th has now passed. I want to thank him for several years of service to Winslow as both a firefighter and a police officer. We wish him well. In good news, the fire department is still fully staffed, even with Ben leaving, because we were able to hire Michael Murphy as our new lieutenant, which will bring us up to 3 lieutenants, 3 captains, 3 full-time firefighters. I'm sorry, 6 full-time firefighters, so each shift is staffed with 4 people. Mike comes to us from Fairfield. He's been a firefighter for 22 years. He's currently a captain, but he's coming on board with us. Actually, he came on today. So, Teresa Crawford also announced her resignation from the police department in February. She was our dispatcher administrative assistant. She's opted to take a job with Elanco. She's been great to work with over my tenure here, and Elanco's very lucky to be getting her. Her last day was March 3rd. The FY24 budget was submitted to council on March 6th. Our budget workshops start tomorrow. We're going to be holding our first one on March 14th, then we'll have our second one March 16th, and then March 23rd. Those are all daytime, day-long sessions, 8:30 to 3 p.m. They'll be held right here in the library. Attendance is open. They are not televised. These are just workshops. Anybody who would like to come in, see what's going on with the budget. All department heads are doing presentations this time around, so we'll actually have some graphics rather than just going through line item by line item, which I think will be a little bit more informative. Basically looking at what last year's budget was, what this year's budget was, what we've accomplished, and what our big challenges are in each budget coming up for the year to come. So it's definitely informative, and the public's welcome to attend. Schools will not be presenting to council until Monday, April 3rd. They will be presenting at 6 p.m. And then we'll be moving on to our first budget vote on April 24th, I believe is the day. So, those are the highlights. Just to mention it, again, as I said, it did not happen in February, but I believe you all know with the departure of our code officer, we've had a bit of a challenge. That's a really hard position to fill these days. Every bit as hard as filling police officers or firefighters. We are getting, I got the formal acceptance today from Jim Flanders, who is the current code officer down in Brunswick. He's the former code officer in Pownall. He'll be starting here on April 3rd. So really happy to have him on board. He's also going to be giving us a few days here and there in the interim just to try and catch up on some of the backlog of things we've had. So If you've been waiting to get a building permit or have an inspection, we're trying to coordinate with Jim to be able to get that done prior to his start on April 3rd. And that is all I have for this month.
Erica, what date was the public hearing on the budget?
Public hearing will be the 24th. We're doing it off-cycle from a council meeting so that we can have a meeting that is entirely dedicated to budget. That one will be a regular council meeting, just not on the regular schedule. We will have a full presentation to the public of the budget after you all have made your final recommendations.
And that would be at night, right?
Yes. Should already be on your calendars.
Just real quickly, has anybody tried the Maine Crisp product?
Yes, I am.
Might have. Diane came home with a bunch of it from Uncle Dean's is selling it locally. This stuff is excellent. Just- I normally don't eat anything healthy, and this is good. Okay.
Lenny's here, and if he has anything he wants to say, and Paul, Peter's home.
Len McDade, do you have anything this week?
Do you have any questions? Unless you have questions. I'm all set for this
You
evening.
all set? Peter?
I do have a question for Lenny.
Oh.
I'm slow. The reports that we've been getting each month on the fire department ambulance, and they've been giving us the amounts of revenues coming in and whatever, but the last 2 or 3 months, we have not gotten the expenses that they would put on. So somehow we can get some expenses on that too?
Yes, I'll find out about that tomorrow and get back to you.
Okay, that's all.
If I could have the chair. Those do exist in your budget packets that I give you every month. So you've got a page that is dedicated to fire, and each line item that they have in there, we can split it out by month. So you can kind of see where they're tracking, but if you want individual monthly expenses, I can also provide those to you in the spreadsheet.
Peter? Good evening.
Good evening. Audrey, welcome. We haven't had a chance to meet yet, so welcome. Just a few things, haven't been here for a little while, so some good things happening in our schools. Parent-teacher conferences are taking place this week at the elementary schools. As a matter of fact, they're taking place tonight and again on Wednesday night. Staff in-service is going to take place for grades 7 through 12 this coming Friday. The area of focus is going to include ongoing professional development in the area of mathematics instruction. We have a trainer from the Maine Math and Science Alliance providing math instruction for all high school teachers. High School Social Studies Department Chair will be working with the Curriculum Coordinator to lay plans for professional development in the coming school year. The Science Department will be reviewing data from last year's state-required testing and reviewing newly released items as they prepare for this year's spring assessment. The annual state science assessment is given to students in grades 5, 8, and 11. All departments will be meeting to discuss student progress thus far in the school year. I don't know if any of you had the opportunity to attend, but the high school recently hosted the Arts Night. The evening began with a Thespian Society induction ceremony, followed by performances by the jazz band, the show choir, and an a cappella ensemble. The evening concluded with a one-act play. In addition to the arts, the science department hosted a science exposition featuring the honors biology class. Student projects highlighted topics in the field of genetics were on display. Performers in the one-act play competed in the regional finals in Skowhegan this past Friday night. They placed third in the competition. 2 students were named to all cast, and commendations were given to 4 students for light and sound. Winslow Athletics just completed their winter sports season, a very successful season. Winslow had 18 senior athletes who made the KVAC All-America team with a 3.5 or better cumulative grade point average. Boys basketball team were the KVAC champs of Class B. Co-op boys ice hockey team reached the quarterfinals in the Class B Northern Regional. Co-op girls ice hockey team made it to the semifinal round of the Northern Maine Regional game. Both the track and wrestling teams had members compete in the state championship meets. The girls basketball team continued to make great gains throughout the season. Cheerleading squad is participating in the New England competition, which is a really big deal coming from our small high school, taking place in Massachusetts this weekend. They placed second in the regional Class C championship. And this New England competition is all classes, from what I understand, so it's a big deal. Our unified basketball team just finished an 8-game season. It culminated with a staff versus student game, resulting in an easy victory for the students. High school finished our Winter Carnival Week. Special attention was given to expanding the events so that all kids had opportunities to participate in things of interest. It's a list, but good things are happening in your schools, and I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you. Okay, at this point of the meeting, we have public comment. That's where anybody can get up and speak on.
We need a motion.
Make a motion to accept reports.
Yeah, sorry.
We have a motion to accept the reports.
So moved.
Second?
Was that Jerry?
No, that was Ray.
Oh, Ray, sorry, Ray. Dale Macklin?
Yes.
Jerry Quirian?
Yes.
Ray Karen?
Yes.
Joseph Gravel?
Yes.
Jeff West?
Yes.
Lee Trahan?
Yes.
And Peter Drappo?
Yes.
Passes 7-0. And then we have Finance Committee reports. That's in your packet. And public comment.
Okay.
I do have one thing to read as well.
Okay.
Let me read it here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I have an email from Jacob Lavernway from 7 Payne Street. Throughout major cities across the United States, there has been major push towards increasing accessibility towards safe and reliable public transit, as well as a push for safe, reliable bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure. I would like to advocate for bikeways that are near to, yet physically separate from primary roads, to allow people to stores and venues throughout the town without the need to rely upon a vehicle. That's it.
This time, anybody from the public can get up and speak about anything that is not on the agenda. Doesn't look like we have any.
And we have no tabled business. On to old business. Order number 5-2023, providing for issuance of up to $6,800,000 of the town's general obligation bond to finance upgrades to the Chaffee Brook Pump Station.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? There being none?
That was Jerry and Jack, correct?
Correct.
Okay, roll call vote, Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Quirian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Peter Drappo.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Order number 6, 2023, providing for authorization for the Public Works Director to approve the attached amendment to the Sunset Heights Design Agreement with Wright Pierce for a cost not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Okay, roll call. Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Quirian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Peter Drappo.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Order number 7-2023, providing for authorization for the town manager to advertise for the Public Works Foreman with a target start date of April 1st, 2023, and to appropriate $20,000 from unanticipated fiscal year 2023 revenue to fund the position.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. There being none?
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Kurian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Peter Drucker.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Order number 8 dash 2023, providing for authorization for the town manager to negotiate an extension of solid waste collection and disposal services for a period of not more than 2 years and not to exceed an increase of 6.5% equivalent to the 2022 CPI.
So move.
Second.
Discussion.
None? Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Kurian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Peter Drucker.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Order number 10, 2000.
Order number 9?
Oh, yep, sorry. Order number 9, 2023, providing for adoption of the attached job description for deputy police chief position for the newly created public safety department.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. There being none?
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Kurian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Peter Drucker.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, now we're on to 10. Order number 10, 2023, providing for adoption of the attached amended job description for the deputy fire and EMS chief position to meet the needs of the newly created public safety department.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Okay.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Kurian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
And Peter Drucker.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Order number 12, 2023, providing for adoption of the attached job description for the public safety director position for the newly created public safety department.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Nope.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Kurian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Peter Drucker.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Order number 14-2023, providing for authorization for the town manager to appropriate $80,000 to elementary school property for the purposes of purchasing abutting property in front of the school identified as Winslow Map Lot 19-27 from KRDP LLC as follows. $41,200 from the sale of town property and $38,800 from budgeted use of surplus.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
If I could add a point of clarification, just because most of you may note that we did already have a vote on this prior. According to our auditor, the original account that we had identified as for the $38,800 portion is not allowable, so we instead have to word it that we are taking it from budgeted use of surplus. That's why it's on here again. It is not an additional, it's not changing anything except for the account where we're drawing the monies from.
Any discussion?
What's that? Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Kurian.
No.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan,
Yes.
and Peter Drappa.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the second reading.
Second?
Discussion? There being none?
Dale Macklin,
Yes.
Jerry Kurian,
No.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West,
Yes.
Lee Trahan,
Yes.
Peter Drappa.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1. Order number 15, 2023, providing for authorization for the town manager to appropriate $73,000 to police vehicle capital for the purposes of purchasing 2 new police cruisers at a discount of 18% of the list from budgeted use of surplus.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, yes,
Go ahead, Dale.
why, what's the reason for purchasing those 2 new police cruisers right now and not until next July?
It's because you're 18% discount off list price if we buy them now. You're gonna save over $10,000. Actually, we're saving more than that. We're saving somewhere around $18,000. It will also decrease the budget request I put in for police capital by $90,000, which will decrease your mill rate that is anticipated next year as well. Simply put, it's an opportunity to buy brand-new vehicles, but they are last year's model, and we can get that at a significant discount. We had skipped purchasing a vehicle several years ago, right before I got here. Unfortunately, now we have 2 vehicles that are in very poor repair and are starting to cost a lot of maintenance money. So this is an opportunity to save some money and get 2 working vehicles.
That's all I wanted to know.
Dale?
Are those outfitted, Lenny, or Holly Click? Is there gonna be more money for that needed?
Yes, but no more than we actually budgeted for.
Okay.
We budget the outfitting separately from the vehicles themselves. They don't come fully equipped. These will come with all the wiring harnesses and such that we need, but we still have to pay to have them
We'll take
completely
that up at
outfitted.
budget time.
I'm sorry?
That will be taken up in our budget.
The equipping of the vehicles, yes. That's about $10,000 per vehicle. That's not going to change. What will change is the request of $45,000 per vehicle. That will come out of your budget, and instead we'd be looking to appropriate the $73,000 that we're asking for now out of current
Okay,
budget
yeah.
surplus.
Perfect.
Any more discussion? There being none?
Dale Macklin,
Yes.
Jerry Kurian,
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West,
Yes.
Lee Trahan,
Yes.
Peter Drappa.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Where there is a time constraint on purchasing these vehicles, I'd like to make a motion to waive the second reading, please.
Second?
That was Jeff, I'm sorry. Okay. Dale Macklin,
Yes.
Jerry Kurian,
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West,
Yes.
Lee Trahan,
Yes.
Peter Drappa.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Resolution number 5-2023, providing for council signatures on the attached letter to Senator Susan Collins, Senator Angus King, and Representative Shelley Pingree regarding congressional directed spending project funding request for the Sunset Heights infrastructure improvements.
So move.
Second?
Discussion? Go ahead.
Dale Macklin,
Yes.
Jerry Kurian,
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gretel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
And Peter Druffel.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. All right, now we're on to discussion items. The Agricultural Committee Fall Festival. Rocky was
Yeah.
gonna,
So, the agricultural committee decided that we'd like to promote Winslow agricultural interest, that being gardening, farming. So we'd like to have a festival down to Port Halifax Park, which kind of feeds into what Erica had noticed, that people weren't wanting more events down there, so this would definitely help out on that line. And it's gonna be in October, I believe the 21st. We got a hold of the coordinator for the Common Ground Fair in Unity. They zoomed in on our last meeting and thought that that would be a good time of the year, because there's not a lot of festivals going on that time of year. So we hope that that would help increase attendance. Where this is the first festival, financially, we're gonna try to be self-sufficient, but we're not sure if that's possible. We definitely wanna talk to the police and fire departments and public works, just to, assess what we're doing and see what they think we need as far as their participation or not. So, we just wanted to bring it forward to the council tonight, just to let them know what was going on.
Sounds good.
Do you have any questions?
I guess it's for Erica more than anything, and I was gonna mention it on the Port Halifax thing. We had a discussion a year or so ago, 6 months on liability for vendors at these events, that they may have to have or require liability coverage indemnifying the town. Where does that stand? Where?
It's still a requirement. And actually Ag Commission's the one that looked into this too. There is the ability to, I'm gonna let you explain it, Rocky, can you get that more?
So Amanda checked with MMA, which is our insurance carrier, and there might be an exception whereby they can buy, I believe it's insurance, under a plan through MMA for like maybe $50, and we're not sure. Amanda hadn't heard back the final word, she was still waiting. But that way, if there was somebody that was selling their goods and they don't normally sell their goods, they could buy in on this insurance policy and they would be covered for this event. We definitely would not want anybody down there that wasn't covered on some type of insurance.
But the vendor would have to provide that, pay that $50 or whatever.
They would, but we're still waiting to hear back as of our last meeting from MMA. Amanda hadn't heard back the final word, so we were still waiting on that, but we definitely would want to be covered as far as insurance and not cost the town anything.
okay,
Sounds good.
sounds good. Cushman Road Sewer. That's a Paul thing.
Mine, I wanted to put that on tonight, just to give you guys a heads up. The Cushman Road Storm Drain Project is out to bids. Bid opening is March 30th. In that project, we've included the replacement of the last 2,000 feet of sewer line on Cushman Road. Since we're digging up the road, it'd be a good time to replace it. The only thing, we really have no funding mechanism right now for that part of the project, so that's why I'm throwing it out to the council. If, we can pull it out of the project when we open bids if it comes up that we have no money for it, but this would be the best time to do it. Half of it's been done in the past. It'd be nice to get off of Cushman Road, get all the sewer and storm done, and then hopefully we can try to attack DOT and get it paved. Because then we could pretty much guarantee we won't be digging that up for the next 20 or 30 years. So there's a couple different options. Our sewer equipment truck and camera gets paid off this year. We have one payment left. So we could, we're looking probably $500,000 for that sewer project. So we could possibly bond that out for 5 years and kind of roll over that bond that we took out for the truck. We also have $200,000 a year in capital that we put into the sewer budget every year. We could maybe take half of that to pay a bond payment and not put us completely penniless for the year, in case we have pump station problems or that type of capital. So a couple of things that I just wanted to throw out there for you guys to consider. We can discuss it tomorrow more too with the budget process, but just food for thought so that you guys are thinking about it.
Well, it will be a lot cheaper to do it now, whereas you're gonna have the road dug up.
It is, and
And,
we
I mean-
avoid potential conflicts of, putting a sewer line in and then digging half it up with the storm drain or vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, you know our luck, we opt not to do it. We put the storm drains in, and after we pave the Cushman Road, we'll have to dig it up again if it's
You know,
sore.
We've got about half it that's still clay tile pipe.
So there's still clay under Cushman Road?
Oh, yeah. And we've got sags in it that we have to maintain a couple times a year to keep them flushed out because, stuff builds up. And Councilor Macklin's aware of his neighbors have had issues recently, so, we'd like to try to avoid that, and that would make that whole main line on the Cushman Road in good shape, for the next 40, 50, 60 years. So.
That included having mine dug up, Paul.
Yours has already been done, I believe.
Yeah, well, from the house to the road.
Right.
Is
Well,
that
how's-
the upper half or the lower half you want to do?
The upper half. Well,
That's basically from my house.
from Lessard Street up towards the
Yes,
connector.
I think they stopped,
Yes.
25 years ago, they
The
stopped it.
lower part's been done. The only problem is they didn't replace the manholes when they were going through it, so we're gonna go back and put new manholes in, which I couldn't figure that one out, but anyway, it is what it is.
They stopped at my house 30 years ago.
So the rest of it would be done, so it would be all new main line, because that main line handles, all of Dunbar development, and that whole area comes down to that main line, so it's a pretty important line, so.
And for the people that are there, Paul, those houses there, I just want to mention that the homeowner is responsible for the house, from their house to the main sewer line.
Correct, our ordinance puts that
That's right.
sewer line onto the property owner. We are gonna replace everything up to the property line, which is what we've done in all our past projects.
Are you going to go underneath the road to
Yes,
houses that are on the other side of the road?
yes.
Oh.
We're gonna stub out to every property owner
Oh,
beyond the right-of-way, either on your side up to the sidewalk, beyond the sidewalk, or on the other side,
oh.
closer to the right-of-way.
So you'll be doing underneath the road
Yes.
also? Okay.
So you're gonna have the road dug up. Time to
Yes,
do
but
it.
So, if the homeowner doesn't want to replace their part, that's on them, but
I would.
What's that, Paul?
I said, if the homeowner doesn't want to do their short part, that's up to them, but at least we know in the future, if they do have issues, they won't be going back in the road. So we're doing them a favor. I mean, we're
Yes.
replacing part of their line that's really theirs.
You're replacing part of the line that normally the homeowner would have been
Correct.
responsible for.
Correct.
Yes.
That's the only way we can guarantee we don't dig the road back up after we pave it.
We'll talk about it tomorrow, right?
Yes.
You're tomorrow, right? So,
But I just want to throw that out, that the biggest issue right now is how we want to fund it.
It sounds like you've got some good options, so we'll have to deal with it.
So we'll discuss it tomorrow. I just wanted to bring that up, so you guys have something to think about while you go to bed tonight.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll be thinking snow, so.
Yeah, yes,
Good?
Question to the chair?
Yes.
Paul, just curiosity, when you go and take care of both sides for the tie-ins,
Mhm.
and is there any possibility that when you tie into, say, an old clay pipe that a homeowner is responsible for? Could there be a potential where you're tying into it, and when you tie into it, something causes the old pipe to fail, and then,
We do the best we can for it not to happen. I mean,
if it does happen, is it still the homeowner's responsibility?
it is, unless we can prove that we did, that the connection wasn't done right. In that case, we'd have to line camera first.
Okay. Just wanted to ask.
I mean, we do the best we can,
Yeah.
You're tying into an old line. Sometimes it's, cross your fingers and hope it holds up, but for most of the homeowners, what's left for them to do is pretty short, so most of the houses are pretty close to the road, so.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul, got a dumb question. On the 107, which I didn't realize that there was anything going on, and I'm there every day, they never talk to me about it. Have you met with the owner?
I've talked to the owner, they want to pave their parking lot, they're trying to get us somewhat involved, but I've been trying to shy away from that one. I mean, it's their parking lot.
When could we get together with them, find out when they want to pave their parking lot, and when we can work with them to do some of the streets surrounding their business?
The owner has a call in to me right now. Basically, that should be a discussion for your budget, because it goes to your capital, and when you're going to be able to have the monies to do that part of the paving. I know that Clinton Ave is not on the budget request for this year. I'm not sure where it was on our 5-year call, but.
I don't have much on the in-town streets as far as 5-year. Most of the 5-year has been dedicated to the country, but like I say, this year, I wanted to do Halifax and some of the Smiley development area, because they were getting really bad. Halifax is gonna get a lot of traffic in the next couple of years with the bridge project, so I'd like to at least do an
And we're at the
overlay.
point of triaging, and while it would be ideal to be able to do a parking lot at the same time that the town is doing the roads, it is by no means a requirement to have the town road done at the same time. That's a wish list item, and I don't think, as much as we would try to work with them, it sounded to me like they want it done a lot sooner than we're gonna be able to put that on our list of paving, unless, of course, council decides to go a different way entirely with what you all want paved. But we do have significantly worse roadways in the town right now. I've been getting screamed at about Halifax Street since I got here, so that's been 2.5 years. Clinton is in much better shape. It's been done more recently.
Yeah, we did Clinton
We've
back.
got a lot more neighborhood streets. When you're starting to talk about doing the major roads, we have roads that are in very, very poor condition, far worse than Clinton Ave, but in my opinion, and again, it's strictly my opinion, council has the say as to what you all are gonna do, but in my opinion, that is not the best use of the limited paving funding that we have.
I agree. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bring your plow. Bring your plow.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Want a roll call on that?
Yes.
Dale?
Yes.
Jerry Kurian?
Yes.
Ray Karen?
Yes.
Joseph Gravel?
Yes.
Jeff West?
Yes.
Rich Brannigan?
Yes.
Peter Grappo?
Yes.
Motion passes.